Earth. This is your review for 2. Good day, my name is Joe Gerba. Today I'll be going over Earth and how it plays with 2 players. Now Earth is a 1 to 5 player game where you'll be starting with your island, climate, and ecosystem, trying to craft the best version of your Earth that you can. You'll be crafting it in this 4x4 tableau of flora cards and terrain cards while building up your trees, your trunks, getting growth tokens, all while trying to keep into account these fauna, these end of game goals. And hopefully by the end of the game, you have the most points, and whoever has the most points wins the game. So let's see a little bit more how to play. So in Earth, you're going to start with a set of cards. You're going to get an island, a climate, an ecosystem with these end of game goals visible to everybody on this fauna board. You're going to have a different setup from your neighbor, and there's a ton of ways to score in this game, so you just have to keep that in mind. But what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to place the marker above one of the actions. You're either going to plant, you're going to compost, you're going to water, or you're going to grow. And each one of these is a big benefit for the person playing it. But however, the other person is going to have a small benefit that they'll do. So it's a lot of simultaneous play, not a lot of downtime in this game. So each of these is going to have a big action and then a little action for everyone else. So once you finish the turn, then the other player will get to do the big action while you get to do the minor action for the turn. So it's really, there's a good balance of the card play and the mechanics of this game. The currency in this game is going to be soil. So you're going to have to get soil to be able to plant. And you want to water to get cubes on your cards for points. And then also card management. This card has a terraforming Mars size style of deck where you never know what you're going to get, all with these different abilities and terrain types, while trying to keep into account the fauna, the fauna board. There's just so many ways to score points in this game. The point salad is real in this game. There's so many different ways, so many things to keep track of. Hand management, soil management, compost cards at the end of the game get you points. Tree trunks, completed tree trunks, growth tokens, points on cards, just a lot to think about. But as you go about, you're going to be building your engine, paying your soil to put cards in your tableau, looking at the other person to see, can I beat them to the punch on these fauna board? There isn't really much take that at all in this game. It's really trying to craft the best version of your Earth that you can with some of the events with your your hand of cards. And the first person to finish is going to get a couple extra points. They're going to first one to finish their 4x4. At the end of the game, you're just going to add up all those, and like I said, whoever has the most points wins the game. So that's kind of just a basic rundown. Didn't go through all the actions, but one's to plant cards in here, one's to get more soil, one's to get more growth tokens, and one's just to get more cards in your hand. So let's see a little bit more what I thought about the game. So let's talk about the components in this game. Components in this game are pretty neat. You get to stack these wooden pieces. You get to stack the tops of your canopies. Putting the growth tokens on is fun. You get a lot of cards. So other than that, pretty standard components in this game. The rules, fairly straightforward. There were a couple rules bubbles in odd places where I couldn't quite find the rule that I was looking for. But overall, fairly straightforward. I wish there was a couple, like a little reference sheet, some sort of flow. Even though the flow is fairly simple to this game, it'd be nice to have that refresher. But overall, fairly straightforward rules. Let's talk about the setup and table size. Setup really doesn't take too long. Most of the game, you're going to be building the setup as you kind of go with the cards. You're going to be building your tableau. There's a lot of little prep work. Shuffling the deck will take you a little bit of time to make sure you mix it up from game to game, because your events may stack up, all your compost. So it may take you a little bit to set up, maybe about 10 minutes. Table size can be played on a 3x3, but that would be pretty tight. It takes up a good portion of our table. If we had 4 people around, it would definitely take up a lot of room. But with 2 players, you really almost need to sit opposite because it is pretty sprawling once you get your tableau built. So let's talk about the gameplay. And this is the kind of the fun part of the game. You don't exactly know what cards you're going to draw when you draw cards. There's a lot to think about. With the point salad, you really kind of have to think, do I want to score points on the tableau? Do I want to score, do I want to lose that many points with the events? Am I trying to gain this huge compost pile for points? There's a lot to think about in this game. This fauna board gives you kind of a direction to go. These ecosystems give you another direction to go. There's 6 different visible ways to score end of game victory points, and that doesn't include the cards you're going to get. That doesn't include the growth tokens, the trees, the events, the compost. There are a lot to think about in this game as you're playing cards. This can definitely have that. I know they wanted to give you a direction of where to go, but they almost gave you too much of a direction on where to go. There's just so many things to think about in your first 2 to 3 turns of how do I want to score points and how do I want to get started. Now, for me, I love choice. So having that choice at the beginning, those first few turns are so crucial. Building up soil, thinking, how do I want to spend that on these cards? Just a really neat kind of gameplay mechanic. It's a lot of fun too. When you choose an action, the other player is going to get to do a sub action. You say you get to draw 4 cards and grow 2 tree trunks. Well, they could draw 2 cards or grow their tree trunks. So kind of an interesting thing. What do you want to give your opponent for the turn? As well as choosing, you get to do these sub actions on the color you choose. So if your opponent has a lot of blue, you may not want to go to the watering as much and really make them go to the watering, make them choose that. Maybe it's a suboptimal choice for them. So there is some interaction on looking to see what they have, but as far as there's no take that, there's no hate mechanics in this game. It's mainly optimizing what I can do to score points and kind of prevent you being able to do everything you want to do. So really neat, fun mechanic. I like the sub actions. There's not a lot of downtime. You're always going to be doing something, thinking about your cards, trying to get more cards, soil, growth, keeping the end of game things in mind while trying to think of, how many more turns will the game even last? So the gameplay loop is a lot of fun in this game. Let's talk about the replayability in this game, and I think that's a good portion of this game. This game has a lot of cards, has a lot of replayability. The luck is going to be pretty high in this game. If there's something out there that you need and you're drawing off the top and you're drawing 4 cards a turn or 5 cards a turn and you're just not getting it, well, maybe you need to alter a strategy or see, is there a different way or different avenue I can score points, which they do give you in this game, but the replayability is pretty high with all of these different cards. What I really like about this game, I almost wish more games did this. Let's give you an achievement sheet, something to work towards, different ways to play game to game. After 3 of our playthroughs, we have 5 achievements done, and it's been neat to see. Well, can I do this game? Can I kind of work towards that? So just a neat thing to add in a game, so that really helps with the replayability of this game. So let's get down to it. Is this game good for 2? And I really do like this game for 2. With more than 2, I could see it slowing down. However, there is you always get to do something on some player's turn, and I really like that. My one big part about this game is there are almost too many ways to score at the end. Good, bad, or otherwise, there's just a lot to keep track of. 6 open-faced ways to score, plus whatever's in your hand, trying to fill out your tableau. And there's just, when we are scoring points, we're adding up, just chunks of points by the end of the game. Now that doesn't mean to say it's a lot of fun. I would equate it to like a terraforming Mars, to an Ark Nova on the Tableau building side, but just a different mechanic on the action choice that you get to choose. Because the action choice, you only get one of 4 choices, but it's how can I use that to benefit me in the long run. So there's a lot of choice, there's a lot of thought. My one, like I said, quibble about the game is just trying to keep track of the amount of the avenue you want to score. It's going to be tough to keep in all 4 fauna boards. If you don't draw the right cards, that could be a negative, but you're always going to score points at the end of the game. No matter what you do, you're going to score points, and it feels good. The dads and dice and I talked about this. It feels bad to score negative points in the game. When somebody scores -3 to 15, 20, like an Ark Nova, it can feel pretty bad. Our scores, on the last game were 230 to 266. So it seems like we both scored, and even though one of us was above, it felt like at least there was a chunk of we scored points. So in a 2-player game, the interaction I wouldn't say is super high in this game, but the fun factor is there, the replayability is there, has a lot of luck, a lot of things to think about. May not be my favorite game of the year, but I have really enjoyed Earth for 2 players. So I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and until next time.